Hi everyone, welcome to the Shrimpy McGee channel. My name is Helen and thank you so much for joining me here. Today I wanted to talk about your first day at a new job. Everybody's been here. I myself have had a ton of first days at different jobs. I have worked as a freelancer for a very long time, more years than I'm going to mention at this point, but I try to count up how many different new jobs I've had and requiring me to be somewhere, and I was over 20. So I've done this 20 different times, and so I've gathered lots of great tips and tricks that I really hope will help you. So stay tuned. Here we go. The first one is that, the day before you start your first day at a new job, you're going to feel really like you can't sleep, maybe a bit agitated, you feel nervous, but I would really challenge you to reframe that and try and think of yourself as being excited. You're really excited. Think about yourself as just feeling excited and not nervous. And that will really help you reframe things in a positive way for the next morning when you get going, and maybe even help you get to sleep. I mean, it's very normal to feel super energetic and stuff like that. Channel that into what you're going to tell yourself is excitement. Everybody has been in these shoes before. Every job comes with a learning curve, and all that is very normal. Try and stay in the mind frame of being excited and knock away all those nervous thoughts because they're not going to help you. You're hyped. You're stoked. You're going to do a great job. My next tip is that you want to everyone says to be early. Be early, be early, be early. I totally disagree with this. You do not want to be early. There's a reason they give you start times. Very often they'll give you a start time at a job a little later than when the person who's going to be helping you get into the job starts. So if they start at 9, very often they'll give you a start time of like 9:30 or 10, at least in jobs that I've typically done in offices. And the reason for that is because the person who's going to be training you or showing you through that first day wants to get a bit settled themselves. They want to get in. And again, this is mostly for office type jobs, but for a lot of other different type of jobs, they want to get themselves settled first. They want to just check, did they get any phone calls they need to respond to, any emails they want to get through. They want to just get their own bearings, and they want to even sometimes leave themselves a little bit of margin in case they're running late, which of course is a big no-no, but people are late sometimes. So sometimes they'll push you back by a little bit, and so try to respect that. If they say to start at 9 a.m., that does not mean come at 8:30. Nobody wants to see you at 8:30. They may not be in, and they want to bet, the person that's training you or helping you wants to put their best foot forward as well. If they say 9, come at 9. But what you should be early, just don't come up before it's time. So if you're a bit early, find a coffee shop to hang out in, have yourself a tea or a small coffee, but don't overdo it because you don't want to be like super hyper caffeinated by the time you show up. You just want to be normal, order yourself, a sparkling water and have that, but you want to be on time. So you definitely want to make sure that you are there early, but you don't want to show up early, if you know what I'm trying to say. You just want to show up exactly on time, like to the minute, not 5 minutes early, not 10 minutes early, certainly not late. They're not going to have the time to see you like 30 minutes beforehand. They don't even want you in the waiting room 30 minutes beforehand. Don't do it. Just be on time. Everybody will respect that. Or, you can give yourself like 1 minute to like, if you have to go through like reception first, give yourself like that 1 minute just to see yourself to be there and seated at the exact right time, right? So be on time, not early. I think that this is such a vital point. No one's going to be mad at you necessarily if you're early. They're going to think you're really keen, and that's not a bad thing. But at the same time, you're actually putting a burden on the people that are supposed to be training you, the person that's supposed to be training you or helping you. Give them that courtesy. It's like showing up at dinner parties exactly on time. Really, you can do that, and in some cultures that is completely normal. But, give them the courtesy of that extra. Like at a dinner party, I would suggest don't show up exactly on time. Show up a few minutes at least late. Give the host and hostess that little bit of wiggle room to just, finish up their hair or their makeup, or just put the finishing touches on the table. It's sort of a similar idea, except that in an office you want to be exactly on time, not late, not too early either, right? Be on time. Okay. My next tip comes from not only personal experience, but also having taken through, I work in the magazine world, and once upon a time, we used to take on a lot of interns and, of course, new hires as well. But my number one suggestion, I know even though we're living in a really digital age and you're definitely going to have your phone with you, maybe you're even toting a tablet or a laptop with you to your own personal things to a new job, I would definitely say a notepad and pen, okay? Please do this. And so I've even written a little sticky note. Bring a notepad and pen. And the reason you want to do this is, do you really want to be pulling at your phone to make notes on it? Maybe you do, but maybe you don't. You don't know what the culture at that office is like. Maybe it's a complete faux pas, or, it's going to look like you're distracted when you have a phone in your hand. Sorry for that. You don't want to do that. Make sure that you have a notepad and pen and use it. There's going to be some piece of information that you might want to jot down in here. It might be like a code that they give you to get into your phone system or your computer system. I mean, you want to have this written down, right? Not necessarily just in your actual smartphone. Use it, have it, use it. If there's a meeting, take notes. You're going to look smart too, right? And so appearances are not everything, but I cannot tell you how many people have come as interns and new hires and have not even had anything to write on with them or a pen. And that's totally fine. I mean, people are forgetful. It's fine. But I'm telling you now, bring a notepad and bring a pen with you. Even if you don't use them, they're great to have. They're tools. You need these tools, and you never know. I bet you that you're going to write something down on the first day you're going to need to refer to during the rest of the week. Just be sure to have this with you for the whole week, not even just for the first day. Okay. My next tip. Take your breaks. You're going to be given breaks, unless you're working, hopefully not in a sweatshop. You're going to be given breaks. You're going to be given a lunch hour. You're going to be given some breaks. Take them. Don't sit at your desk the whole time. And I'll tell you for a couple of reasons. One, it gives you a chance to get up and move your body, move away from your spot or whatever it is you're doing. Maybe you're standing on your feet and you need to sit down. Take that time for yourself. Your body will thank you. And also, where people are often congregated, be it the lunchroom or wherever else, is somewhere for you to start getting to know the people that you work with, which is never a bad thing. It's really good. Will help you establish some just visually look at who's there. Look at what the vibe is. You're going to learn a lot about the culture and the place that you're working at by taking breaks and taking your lunch with you and getting away from your spot. You definitely want to get in the habit of getting away from your spot. The reason for that is not just for your body. It will also help you later on. You do not want to establish yourself as the person who's always at their desk. You want to get it in other people's mind, be it your bosses and your coworkers, that you're someone who gets up for their breaks and for your lunch. And that way they will come to expect it. And that is a good thing. You should not be chained to your desk for the entire day or wherever your work spot is. You should definitely get them in the habit of knowing that you're not there all the time. It is good. You do not need to be on call. You're not a machine. You're not a robot. Get up, take those breaks, move, get them in the habit of knowing that, Helen takes her breaks. She's not here at break time. She's not here at lunchtime. It's not a bad thing at all. You will not have points deducted. And if you do have points deducted, quote unquote, this is not a good work environment. And I'm not going to tell you whether you should stay at that job or not, but definitely, even if nobody else takes their breaks, I would strongly suggest you get in the habit. Maybe you'll start other people, but just start from day one. On your first day, start by taking your breaks and taking your lunch and come back on time, right? It's all about professionalism. And I believe a part of professionalism is setting boundaries. And some of those boundaries come with the breaks that have been given to you by law, right? Take them. Okay, so that's my other tip. And I mentioned lunches, so this one is also about lunch. Bring a lunch with you. You might be in a place that's in the middle of a really busy city and you're like, oh my gosh, there's a Chipotle downstairs and there's a McDonald's and there's a sandwich shop that I love and there's a Starbucks right there. So I'm definitely going to pop out for a lunch. Yes, I'm not saying you shouldn't. Remember, my last point was definitely take your breaks. But I think on the first day you should bring a lunch with you just in case. You don't know that you're going to be given a pass card that works properly on the first day to pop in and out of the actual office setting, because most offices have some sort of security system where you need a pass card to get in and out. And if they don't, that's fine too. You just don't know. So I would say, instead of being crazy with hunger all day because you weren't too sure about how you're going to get back in the office, you should just bring a lunch with you. Bonus points for just bringing something that you don't need to refrigerate. So you don't need to find that fridge. If you can eat a sandwich with like peanut butter, or if you're not too sure if there's allergies in the office, use sun butter, which is, it doesn't need to be refrigerated and is, you can keep with you. Definitely do something like that. Keep it simple. Sandwiches are super popular in the office for a reason. Should you bring a sandwich or should you bring food you reheat? I would say bring something that you don't need to reheat. That way you don't need to mess with the microwave or eat cold food. Some people are fine with cold food. Or, if you were at Starbucks earlier, pick up something from them, like a protein box or something like that. In the few hours that pass from when you get the food until when you eat lunch, you probably don't need to refrigerate it in that short amount of time, depending on what's inside of it, of course. But, just grab that on your first day too. But bring a lunch with you. Don't expect that you're going to be able to pop out for a hot lunch or not. Maybe you'll get lucky and the people that you work with will invite you out somewhere to lunch and you can all go to a food court together or wherever the case may be. Don't assume that they're paying for it though. You're paying for your own lunch. Always assume you're paying for your own lunch just in case. But my tip is bring that lunch with you. And, so what? If you don't eat it for lunch and you do end up eating out, have it for a snack later. Or, if it's good for the next day, just keep it for the next day. All right, so that's my tip. Bring your lunch on your first day. My next tip. Read the materials that are given to you. Very often on a first day, they will give you some reading stuff. I don't know. It might be a pamphlet. It might be just stapled together papers talking about the company. Read them. So many people don't read it, and there's often good stuff buried in there. Often there's nothing buried in there, but sometimes you can read it and it will give you sort of ideas for questions you might want to ask your boss or questions you might want to ask your other coworkers. But if you don't read it, you won't know what's in there. Sometimes you can learn things about the corporate culture from reading what's inside. Sometimes things that you should and shouldn't do are right there for you. So definitely read whatever materials that are given to you. You might think it's silly or not worth your time, or you read it at night. If you have a chance, just read it on that first day. That way, toward the end of the day, if anybody asks you if you have questions, you will have some questions, presumably. If you don't, that's cool too. And that's why you have that notebook, right? To write down those questions so that you don't forget them. Do you really want to whip out your phone instead when your supervisor is asking if you have any questions? You'll look much more profesh if you have this. All right, so my last point is that it's your first day and you need to be realistic. You need to prepare to be lonely for that very first day. This happens to everyone. You're sort of just sitting there and you sometimes are very bored because your supervisor maybe hasn't had enough time, or your boss or whoever's training you maybe hasn't had enough time to take you through all the ropes. You're going to have some downtime. It's okay to have a bit of downtime on your first day of the job. You don't want to be pestering your supervisor every 10 minutes for more work. What do I do now? It's okay. Sometimes they're busy. Maybe at the end of the day, you can discuss with them that you had a bit of downtime and what should you do? What could you do the next day to fill up that time? How could you help? Definitely, it's fine to ask one time. Don't pester them, though, multiple times during the day. Often they're busy, too, with their own job, and they had to train you on top of what they're doing. Prepare to be a bit lonely on that first day. It's totally fine. It's totally normal. You won't be lonely forever. You're going to make friends eventually down the road, and if you don't, that's okay, too, but the first day is often a lonely day. And that's okay. Enjoy that quiet time. Eventually, it's going to be so nuts at your job, you're not going to know what to do with yourself. And you're going to think back to that first day and think how quiet things were. Try and enjoy it and try and be okay with the loneliness. Being lonely is not a reflection of you. It doesn't mean you're not extroverted enough. It's just a function of being the new person. That's okay. Take that time to observe. It's okay to be an observer on the first day. Right? So just observe what's going on and definitely be friendly. Introduce yourself to people within reason. You don't want to be chatterbox on day one. In fact, I think you're going to probably be a bit lonely. That's okay. It's going to get better as the days and the weeks go on. And the next thing you know, you're going to know a whole bunch of people and it's going to be super busy. And you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe my first day was so long ago. All right, everyone, I hope those tips were helpful. If they were, definitely please hit that subscribe button and give me a like. And do check out my other videos. I make a lot of other videos mostly about short hair stuff, but I do life stuff as well. I've done one on podcasting and other cool videos that I think might be helpful to you. I hope so. Just give me a subscribe and leave me a note in the comments if you think this is helpful or what else you like to do on your first day that maybe I haven't mentioned here. I would love to hear from you. Thanks so much. Bye.